talk about. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, like I said, I haven't had this before, but it's happened quite a few times in this class, so we have to talk about it. What happens if someone's got a really strong feeling, but they just can't go back? So they can't go back for any reason. And the last reason we did, there was a fear of going back, and it just wasn't going to happen. So, and I think you, Deb, you witnessed this as well. With, who was it with?
Tony.
Yes. Yeah, so it's the same. So I think it's happened for Tony, and maybe has it happened for you, Susie, or not? I can't remember. No, I think you went back. So basically, like I said, you won't normally, it won't happen, but you know, it's happened here, so we will learn it. With Tony, it didn't want to, she couldn't go back. So what we actually did was to get her to, like symbols, to get her to pull that feeling out and hold it in the hand. And what does it look like? So you basically just say, what does it look like? You know, is it heavy? You don't need to go too much into it, but and then you say, you know, what is it saying? Just like we do in symbols. What is it saying to you? And whose voice is it? And she said, it's my voice. And so the next question was, how old is that voice? And I think you said 3, right? Something like that.
7.
Or 7. Okay. So yeah, she said 7. And so from there, it's basically, I want you to imagine now that 7-year-old is standing in front of you. What does she need to know to clear this feeling? So, and then you just, what does she need to know? What does she need to know? What does she need to know? And then you've got that dialogue. Does that make sense?
They say it's somebody else's voice. You do the whole cutting.
So now if it was, so, and this can happen in symbols too. So you pull it out, it's there in front of you, you can't go back. The feeling's there, you pull it out, it's in front of you. What's it look like? It's a big blob of black stuff. Okay, what it's saying you're pathetic. Okay, and you're like, okay, so whose voice is it? I don't know, I've never heard that voice before. What I normally say is, now throw it in the corner and see it's taking a form. What does it look like? It's a man. Okay, so just thank that man for whatever reason he's here for. I want you to imagine that there's a golden light in the corner, and I do the same thing. Who's waiting for him? Is there someone in the light? Yep, sweet. Okay, I want you to send him to the light, because this is not your stuff to carry. And as you send him to the light, just imagine any other stuff that's around you from him or whoever it is, drawing out of your body. So that's if they don't know the voice. Now, most of the time they do know the voice, which to me is a thought form. And we talked about this yesterday. It's someone said something and it's created a known energy in itself, attachment in itself. So you pull it out. It's a big glob. What's it saying? It's saying I'm ugly. Whose voice is it? It's my sister's. Okay, throw it in the corner. You know, and then basically you say what you need to say. Okay, so, you know, it's in the corner, it's your sister's, you know, it's been put there for a reason. Are you ready to let it go? Yeah, okay. So I want you to see that light and I want you to send it home. And as you do, just any stuff that you've taken on from that voice or that thing, you know, is being drawn out of you. Let me know how you feel. Good, it's gone. Fill them with light. And then off you go. So that can happen, and you'll find that if it is that kind of thing, so the feeling actually doesn't belong to them, that they will struggle going back. Yeah. So.
And then do you replace that space though?
Yeah, with a beautiful light or whatever. Yeah, bring a golden light in of unconditional love. Yeah.
So it's a sister's voice or it's somebody else's voice, and then you just remove the
Throw it in
words.
the corner.
Throw it in the corner.
So you pull the thing, so it's pulled out, it's out, it's in the hand,
out.
black glug. What is it
Mhm.
saying? It's saying I'm ugly. Whose voice is it?
Yep.
It's my sister's. Okay, throw it in the corner.
Yep.
It's taking a form. What's it look like? It looks like my sister.
Yep.
Okay, so are you ready to let this voice go now? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, create that light and I want you to send it home. It's not necessary anymore.
Okay.
Now, if it's their voice, then it's a part, you know, and you do what you do. You don't need to go into a scene. It's just standing there and you just treat it as if it's there in front because the part's decided to come out. And like if it was saying, I'm here to protect you, then I'd say, well, you know, like I'd say to Tony, you know, you're older now. Do you still need that protection? No. Okay. Can you let that younger one know that you're okay now? And, you know, just that kind of talk and just getting the feeling out of the child. You don't need to work so much within the scene because at the end of the day, the scene's not important. What's important is just the feeling. So focusing on the feeling. That's even with any of this golden thread. When you go into the scene, the most you last is at daytime, nighttime, you're alone or in company, and a few words, what's giving them the feeling. And if they don't answer, don't worry, because it's not about that. If you ask any more questions about the scene or really hone them into the scene, you've got a very big chance of stepping into things that you don't want to step into. So the scene is not really that, it's not important, it's the age, it's dealing with that part at that age. So by saying is it daytime, nighttime, alone or in company, just in a few words, what's giving the younger you the feeling, what that's doing is just really getting that part out. So it's really getting that part there. Do you know what I mean? Because that part needs to be present. So that's just orientating the person into that part. Now, when they say to you, when you say, so what do they need to know? And they go, oh, she needs to know that she's loved. I will then say, I want you to tell her that she's loved. So what I'll do is I'll repeat it. And the reason why I repeat it back word for word is because you are actually talking to that part, because that person in front of you, even though it's them talking to the part is there through them. So if someone says to me, she needs to know that she's loved, I'll go, okay, so tell her she's loved. And they'll go, she's loved. What else do they need to know? Oh, she needs to know that the people around her aren't judging her. And then I'd say, okay, let her know that they're not judging her. And also let her know that if people ever were, if they ever were mean to her, this is not about her, because I know that that part of her is actually listening. So I'm indirectly talking to that part myself. And so that's why I repeat what they say back to them. So it really locks it in. Okay, so tell her that you love her. Tell her that she is good enough. Tell her, and you can see that programming is really kicking in. And then get out of the scene and get forward and boom. So are there any more? What I'll do, Susie, is I might write that process up as a form. What if they can't go back? I'll write that process up.
Yep. Yep. How do you know when to step into the parts? Is it just when they can't go back?
So yeah, you'll find that if the emotion's really strong, it's barely going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when the other situation we've got in this class is where we're basically forcing these feelings up to practice. Whereas when clients come in, the emotion's going to be there and strong. And the stronger the emotion, the quicker they'll go back, because it'll be present, it'll be there, the mind will be wide open. But what we're doing now is we're forcing emotion, especially with Tony that time, because the emotion came up while we were talking, and that would have been the perfect time to slam it, but we waited and then we brought it back again. So it wasn't really triggered back. It was more, bring it up, try and bring it up, that kind of situation. Whereas when someone, it just comes up and is present, and that part of that person is there like a bulldog waiting to attack, you know, it's a very different scenario, but it is good to know. And if you feel like someone's been through, like Susie, if you're working with someone with major mental illness type stuff, and you know there's been a lot of abuse in the past, and you are just thinking, I'm a bit scared to do this one, just do symbols. If they have an emotion, just close your eyes, bring it out. What's it look like? Shape and a color. What do you need to do to let this feeling go? I want to throw it away. Okay, throw it away. Just get rid of it. And then I want you to imagine the most beautiful golden ball, put it in your heart, open your eyes, see how you feel it.
You need to make sure that feeling's gone because they pulled it all out. Yeah.
Yeah, once you've done it, yeah. Now tell me what's happened to that feeling. So if you are really in a situation that you don't think that it's healthy to do it, especially because you might work with them a few times doing that, and then they might come into a space where you do it the other way. But if you're in a situation where you think, oh, look, if I don't know if I can help them if they get into a situation, you know, especially if they've got borderline or stuff like that, I'd just stick with symbols because they will be very creative.
So I've thrown the feeling away, but then you will check that it's gone. But if it's still there, what do you do then?
So pretty much won't be if they're throwing it away.
Okay.
I'll give you that, and if you go into the diploma platform, I've added videos on doing symbols, and I think I probably would have gone into that.
Mm-hmm.
My brain right now can't think. You have to get me to do it on someone, but yeah. So if you've changed the feeling and there's still a little bit left, you'd still do what we'd always do and get rid of whatever else it is, or ask it what it's saying, you know, why does it want to stay, you know, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But generally it doesn't really happen. There's always a first. Yeah. And then,
the worst case scenario, so someone did get stuck, you're out of your level, but you know, is it still okay to still ask for the white light or super conscious and still come back out even though you haven't fixed it? I mean, like, you know,
no, the thing is, because like if you go back into a scene and there's a child there and the child's got the feeling in them, and you've done everything that you've done, and there's still a little bit there, and you've asked them, is this actually the first time? And they say yes. I would just go, because kids have got a great imagination, I'll just say, just pull a little bit of the last little bit out. Hold it in your hand. What do you want to do to get rid of that last little bit? You know, and they'll biff it. If it's not going, I would ask, is there someone else causing this feeling? And they'll usually say yes. And then you realize this is not actually theirs. And that's where I'll do cutting the cord to that person, draw it out. This is not your stuff to carry. There won't be a situation where you can't clear the feeling. Not in the child, could possibly in the adult, because they're still in, but it will be more of a conscious sensation of that feeling. It will be conscious, and because there's something going on in their life that's not 100%, and so they feel as though that needs to be sorted. But in the child, basically, it's the reason why it always goes is like it's only running away, fighting, or having the emotional resource is all that you need to do to switch that feeling off. And like, and when you think of it like that, so I think I said an example the other day, a child, her brother throws a teddy bear out a window, it's nighttime, can't sleep without the teddy, she's hysterical. You go into the scene, what do they need to hear? What do they need to hear? What do they need to hear? She's loved, she's safe, what does she need to hear? Feeling's not going, and you think it's a 3-year-old. Okay, I want you to imagine now that you're holding that teddy bear, you've gone downstairs, you've got it, give the teddy bear back to the little girl. How's she feeling? Sweet. Okay. So, you know, sometimes it is as simple as just giving the teddy bear back, you know. And when you think of it like that, when you keep your mind on this kid, the age of the child, you know, what does that child need? Because a lot of the time, if there is problems, it's because the language or the information that the older person is telling them is related to them now. It's not actually helping the person at that age, at 3. Yeah. So you'll be fine smashing the emotion. Worst case, yeah, if you get really stuck, I mean, I'll bring the light down and just wash the last of it away. You know, do whatever you have to do, but don't let the child out without the feeling. If you have to leave a little bit in the adult, so be it. Just not the 3-year-old. If you get really stuck, bring the 3-year-old up out of the scene. Attach your cord down to that scene and wash it all away. Cut the cord, fill in with light from above. Get rid of the scene as if it never was. Wash it away, and then move forward. It's just the fear of what the fear is of leaving. What I imagine would happen if you didn't clear the feeling out of that child is there's a possibility of that child being stronger or being more present with the client, so more there. And you'll find when people talk about a situation a lot, they're almost the emotion of talking about that event can start to wear off over time. But what's happening is you're strengthening that situation and you're strengthening that part that's coming through and talking. So the part's not getting the resolution it needs, it's getting to tell its story every week. Do you know what I mean? So that part's becoming stronger and stronger and getting, which is causing whatever's going on in the person's life. So, and like I said, there is a place for talking, especially if people haven't told people things before and they need to talk it out. But then also if it can also strengthen that part which we don't want, whereas we're just going in and smashing it, and then they can talk about what they need to talk about. So yeah, I'm actually going to stop this video and I'm going to make one on that and I'll write it up.